Why would you think it would be a bad thing for them to become community centers?
I think if you imagine what a community center just in the strict sense would be, which is considered kind of an open space with some people who help do programming, that could mean anything to a community. I think public libraries mean something very specific to communities, that it is grounded in ideas, it's grounded in knowledge, it's grounded in job creation, it's grounded in what kids need after school, it's grounded in what an immigrant might need to find their way into a new country. I think there are a bounded and important series of things that happen. I also think it's tied to the cultural and historical record of the place. And I think if it ended up just being sort of anodyne community centers, you would have A, no librarians, right? That sort of implies that it's not professionals who are guiding this process. And B, I think it wouldn't actually be as specific and as focused toward these things that in a democracy we need libraries to do.
Brian, do you think that that conflicts with what your idea is of what the job of a librarian is?
No, I mean, actually, I would agree with John that when I think of libraries as a community center, community space, and I'm glad, actually, that's interesting. I haven't heard someone have that such a strong.
I'm trying to be comparative.
No, it's great because I think that when I think about a library as a community space, I think about it in the ways that you just described. In Chicago, we're the largest provider of free homework help in the city. We're the largest provider of open and free access to technology in the city. Obviously, we lend books, and there's so many other things that we're doing related to supporting new Americans, supporting jobs, and helping the economy of the city. But we do it through the lens of library, and we do it through the lens of our mission. And it starts with this idea that everyone, regardless of who they are or their background, should have free and open access to the leading ideas of the day. And I think that's where we start with libraries, and then we begin to think about where is our community today, and how do we perform against that broad aspirational goal. In some cases, we're looking at how we support learning in very specific ways, how we support the economy and jobs, and finding jobs and building business in a specific way, and then others, how we make a community stronger through performing democracy. But you're right, it isn't sort of a conventional term. The word community center might conjure a very different idea in someone's mind if they don't truly understand the core mission of a library.
Here's an example, concrete of library as, I don't know if as community center, but really more as central, right, to an emerging set of issues or emerging knowledge base that needs to be shared across the community. So my organization has been working with Web Junction as a content pusher to libraries around the enrollment of people in the Affordable Care Act. And so to the extent that you have people who are now eligible to become part of the healthcare delivery system as a consumer, but who have never done so before, right? They need to enroll. Many don't have computers in their home, and so they're going to the library to do the enrollment. They don't have insurance literacy, so they don't know what it means to sign up for insurance. That it's not just a matter of signing up, that you actually have to provide a lot of information, and the kind of information that you have to provide determines the kind of, in many ways, the coverage that you're going to get. Once you actually enroll, and you choose your plan, and you get to see the doctor, you find out you might have diabetes or some other health problem. Coming back to the library to have that information curated for you, right, with the librarian who is a professional at helping you learn that, and then to understand where in the community might you go to sign up for a class to improve your health condition. So that's more than a community center. But it does still reflect what the library very specifically can do, and as both a historical service, but maybe new content and new ways of doing it.
Maybe one way to reframe it would be to say libraries should be the center of communities, but not be community centers in the sense of of what we imagine that would be.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating actually, because the Affordable Care Act is a really good example of something that's incredibly complicated that people really had a hard time navigating. But I wouldn't necessarily have thought of a librarian as the right person to help navigate the exchanges for someone who's trying, they were trying to have the people out in the community who really understood health insurance, and I wouldn't necessarily have guessed a librarian would be a good place to start.